Have you ever had a bad landlord and didn't know what to do? It's a situation too many of us have found ourselves in. The world of tenancy can be tricky, especially when you're dealing with landlords who don't play by the rules. Knowing your rights as a tenant and the steps you can take to address these issues is crucial. From unreturned deposits to ignored maintenance requests, there are ways to fight back. In this video, we will guide you through the process of reporting a bad landlord. First, it's important to understand what constitutes a bad landlord. You see, not all landlords are created equal, and unfortunately, some fall into the category of being less than stellar. So, how can you identify a bad landlord? Well, there are a few telltale signs you should be on the lookout for. One major red flag is neglecting maintenance. A good landlord will be proactive about keeping the property in good condition. If your landlord is slow to fix problems, or worse, outright ignores them, that's not a good sign. We're talking about things like leaky faucets, broken windows, faulty wiring, or heating issues. These aren't just inconveniences, they can pose real safety risks. Next, let's talk about privacy. Your home is your sanctuary, and a landlord should respect that. If they're dropping by unannounced or entering your home without permission, that's a serious violation of your privacy. Remember, just because they own the property doesn't mean they have the right to invade your personal space. Another sign of a bad landlord is if they're ignoring complaints. Whether it's about noisy neighbors, pest issues, or broken amenities, a good landlord should take your concerns seriously and address them promptly. If your landlord dismisses your complaints or blames you for them, that's a breach of their responsibilities. Lastly, if your landlord is harassing you, that's a clear sign they're not fit for the role. Harassment can take many forms, from persistent, unwanted contact to threats or even discriminatory behavior. This is not only unprofessional, but it's also illegal. So there you have it. Neglecting maintenance, violating privacy, ignoring complaints, and harassing tenants are all signs of a bad landlord. It's not about being nitpicky here. It's about ensuring your rights as a tenant are respected and that you live in a safe and healthy environment. If you recognize these signs, it's time to take action. Stay tuned as we delve into how you can document these issues and report them to the relevant authorities. Before you report a bad landlord, make sure to document your experiences. This is not just a passing suggestion, it's a critical step. Documentation serves as your voice, your proof, and your shield in any disputes you might have with your landlord. Let's delve into what this really means. Keeping a record of all interactions with your landlord is paramount. If you had a conversation about a leaky faucet, jot it down. If you discussed late rent payments or security deposits, make a note of it. Details matter. Include dates, times, and the gist of the conversation. This paper trail can be indispensable if things go south. Next, let's talk about property issues. If you're experiencing problems like faulty wiring, mold, or broken appliances, don't just live with it, document it. Take pictures or videos showing the issue in detail. The date stamp on these files will help establish a timeline of events. Remember, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and a video, well, that's a whole novel. But what about the digital world? In this day and age, a lot of our communication happens over emails or texts. Don't overlook these. They can serve as powerful evidence. If your landlord has promised to fix something in an email but hasn't followed through, that's a written record of their negligence. If they've sent you inappropriate or threatening messages, that's evidence of harassment. Save these emails, screenshots, these texts. They are part of your story. In essence, documenting your experiences with a bad landlord is about creating a narrative. It's about showing a pattern of behavior, of neglect, of disrespect, or of outright malfeasance. It's not enough to say your landlord is bad. You have to show it. And the only way to do that is through comprehensive and meticulous documentation. With substantial evidence, you can build a strong case against your landlord. So remember, before you take any steps against a bad landlord, arm yourself with the most powerful weapon you have: information. Once you have your evidence, it's time to report your bad landlord to local authorities. Now, who exactly are these local authorities? Well, they can be your local housing authority or health department, which are typically responsible for handling complaints about landlords. In most areas, The local housing authority is the go-to place for tenant-landlord issues. They enforce housing codes and regulations, making sure landlords are doing their part to provide habitable living conditions. So if your landlord is neglecting necessary repairs or violating your rights as a tenant, the housing authority is the one to contact. On the other hand, the health department steps in when there are health and safety concerns. Maybe there's mold growing in your apartment, or the building's heating system is faulty. These types of issues fall under the health department's jurisdiction. So, how do you go about reporting to these authorities? It can be done in person or online. If you choose to report in person, make sure to bring all your evidence, photos, videos, and any written communication with your landlord. Be prepared to fill out a complaint form detailing your concerns. If you prefer to report online, visit the website of your local housing authority or health department. There you'll find a section for lodging complaints. Just like reporting in person, you'll need to provide detailed information about your situation and upload any supporting evidence. It's also crucial to keep a copy of your report for your records. Once you've submitted your report, the authorities will investigate your claims. They may visit your property for an inspection, and if they find that your complaints are valid, they'll take appropriate action against your landlord. Remember, reporting a bad landlord isn't about revenge. It's about ensuring your right to safe and decent housing. So don't hesitate to reach out to these authorities if you're facing landlord issues. They are there to protect you and other tenants from unfair treatment. Remember, local authorities are there to help you. In some cases, you may need to seek legal help. When the going gets tough, the tough get a lawyer. It may sound daunting, but in some situations, it's the best course of action. If your landlord retaliates after you've reported them, or if local authorities are unresponsive, it's time to consider getting legal help. Retaliation can take many forms. Maybe they increase your rent, refuse to renew your lease, or even try to evict you. It's crucial to remember that these actions are not only unjust, they're illegal. Now you might be thinking, I can't afford a lawyer. But don't worry, there are resources available to help you find affordable legal assistance. Many cities have legal aid societies that offer free or low-cost legal services to those in need. These organizations are staffed by dedicated, knowledgeable professionals who are well-versed in tenant rights and landlord-tenant law. You can also look into the American Bar Association's pro bono program, which connects low-income individuals with volunteer lawyers who offer their services for free. Legal clinics at law schools are another great resource. Students, under the supervision of experienced attorneys, provide free legal services to those who cannot afford it. Online platforms are another avenue to consider. Websites like Avo and Legal Match can help you find a lawyer based on your specific needs and budget. Remember, it's important to do your research and choose a lawyer who specializes in landlord-tenant law and has a good track record. In some cases, you might even be able to get your lawyer's fees paid by the landlord. Many states have laws that allow tenants to recover attorney's fees if they win a lawsuit against their landlord. So, don't let the fear of legal fees deter you from fighting for your rights. Legal help is more accessible than you might think, and it could be the difference between a bad living situation and a fair resolution. Don't be afraid to seek legal help if you need it. Tenant rights are protected by law. Dealing with a bad landlord can be a stressful experience, but you're not alone. We've walked you through the steps you can take to protect yourself and improve your situation. It's crucial to understand that recognizing a bad landlord is the first step. They may invade your privacy, ignore maintenance issues, or even harass you. Documenting these issues is your next move. Maintain a record of all interactions, take photographs of any physical evidence, and keep copies of all written communications. This documentation can be your strongest ally when dealing with a bad landlord, or if you need to take the issue to court. Reporting to local authorities is another key step. Your local housing or health department can be a great resource for dealing with landlords who neglect their responsibilities. They can inspect your living conditions and, if needed, enforce action against the landlord. And finally, don't shy away from seeking legal help. If your landlord continues to violate your rights, consult with an attorney. They can guide you through the legal process and help ensure that your rights as a tenant are protected. This journey may seem daunting, but remember, you're not alone. There are resources available to you and people who want to help. So stand up for your rights and don't let a bad landlord push you around. Remember, as a tenant, you have rights. Don't let a bad landlord take advantage of you.